You were never meant to beg for what was already written in your name. And yet, you whispered when you should have declared. You bowed when you were meant to rise. You shrank when heaven was calling you by your full name. They mistook your silence for humility. But the angels knew. They knew it wasn't silence. It was suppression. Your voice, beloved, was trained to tremble. Not by God, but by the world that feared your decree. But what if I told you that heaven already said yes? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but before you were born. Say this softly. I no longer whisper for what I was born to declare. You do not have to plead for what your spirit already carries. The supply is not in the outcome. It's in your identity. You are not asking for a miracle. You are the miracle. You are not chasing the promise. You are the prophecy. You never needed to prove your worth. You only needed to remember it. There is a version of you, before the shame, before the betrayal, before the church pews told you to bow and hush, who spoke in certainty. She didn't hustle to be chosen. She knew she was sent. She didn't pray from panic. She spoke from power. And she's still here, waiting for you to stop apologizing for being divine. You've carried too many prayers that sounded like begging, but the universe never heard your words, heard your energy. And your energy has been whispering, I don't know if I'm allowed. So the money paused. The doors hesitated. The timing delayed. Not because God was waiting to see if you were worthy, but because you were worthy the whole time. But you didn't believe it. You were trained to survive, not receive. And this is the moment that changes. This is the untraining. This is the undoing. This is the breath that breaks every inherited lie. Say this out loud. I speak as one who was already answered. Not because you're cocky. 'Cause you're connected. Not because you earned it. 'Cause you remembered it. You see, abundance was never outside you. It was echoing inside your yes. But you were too busy proving what was already proven. Every time you asked, you reinforced the idea that you lacked. But lack was the lie. Supply is spiritual. You don't manifest what you beg for. You manifest what you believe is yours. And the moment you stop asking, the moment you start commanding, you shift, not just mentally, energetically, subconsciously, cellularly, and the universe responds in kind. Because this is the law. Heaven does not answer panic. Heaven answers identity. And you, beloved, are no longer surviving. You are no longer shrinking. You are no longer hoping someone will rescue you from the promise you were born to live. You are the rescuer. You are the prophecy. You are the portal. And it all begins with how you speak. Speak, not as the one still waiting, but as the one who has arrived. Say it again, not just with your mouth, but with your nervous system. I no longer whisper for what I was born to declare. Breathe. Let that truth settle. Let your body feel what it's like to stop running from what was always chasing you, abundance. Let your heart hear this. You don't have to hustle to be heard. You don't have to bargain to be blessed. You don't have to prove to be provided for. You just have to remember. If this truth is settling into your bones, type it in the comments now. My name was always on the throne. And say it again in the silence after. My name was always on the throne. Every time you thought you had to earn it, you forgot who you were before the world named you unworthy. Every fast, every tithe, every sleepless night, you gave as if you were empty. But what if your giving was never meant to come from survival? What if your seed was never meant to be sown from fear? What if it was meant to flow from knowing? You were never meant to fast and fear at the same time. You were never meant to tithe and tremble. You were never meant to pray and panic. You were meant to declare. This is the identity shift. This is the turning of the tide. This is the sound your voice came here to make. I now speak from being, not from begging. From clarity, not confusion. From destiny, not desperation. You thought you were waiting on God. But it was never heaven that paused. It was the echo of your doubt that distorted the delivery. Because when you whisper with fear, the universe waits for truth. It waits for the moment you stop bargaining for what is already written and begin declaring it from the center of your being. You see, the throne was never external. It was always internal. It was always your breath. It was always your voice. That was the key. That was the altar. That was the authority you forgot you carried. And now you remember. Breathe. Let this settle in the places that have been gripping for too long. Let it seep beneath the skin, into the places that were trained to stay silent. This is not just emotional. This is cellular. This is sacred. This is spiritual reprogramming. No longer do you pray with a question mark. You speak with a period. You no longer hope for overflow. You embody it. You no longer fast to be chosen. You feast because you were. This is what wealth sounds like. In the voice of a woman who knows she is already kept. This is what divine remembrance feels like. In the chest of a soul who no longer doubts her name. Say it again. I no longer whisper for what I was born to declare. You are not too much. You are not late. You are not unprepared. You are ready. Because heaven already decided. And nothing can reverse the decision of the divine. Your request has never been your reality. Your remembrance is. Speak now as if your name is already carved in the walls of the kingdom, 'cause it is. Speak now as if divine wealth was never withheld, only remembered, 'cause it is. Speak now as if you were the living proof of answered prayer, 'cause you are. Let this truth hum in your spirit until it becomes the new oxygen of your being. Let your body rise with it. Let your nervous system trust it. Let your words align with it. You do not have to earn what already knows your name. You only have to open your mouth and command what already belongs to you. Not from demand, but from destiny. Not from fear, but from frequency. Not from ego, but from I am. Say this. I no longer speak from hoping, I speak from having. And breathe. Not because this is the end, but because this is the rebirth. The moment you remembered who you were. Before they asked you to forget. The moment you remembered. That lack is a lie. And your silence was never spiritual, it was survival. But no more. Now you speak. Now you rise. Now you decree. Because you were never meant to beg. For what was already written. In your name. Let it echo in your soul. My name was always on the throne. And it still is. You said. There is a sound your soul remembers. Even if your mouth forgot how to make it. It is not the sound of asking. Not the sound of proving. Not the sound of convincing the world to hear you. It is the sound of truth. Spoken without apology. It is the tone of destiny that no longer shrinks to fit survival. It is the vibration of I am. There is a reason your voice trembled when you first tried to speak wealth. Because your body was still speaking the language of lack. Your mouth was saying, I trust. But your nervous system was still whispering, I'm afraid. And the universe did not listen to the sentence. It listened to the frequency. You've said the right words before. You've lit the candle. You've played the affirmations. You've begged the skies with a soft voice. And called it faith. But the vibration underneath was mourning. Grief in disguise. Hope dressed in fear. And still, God heard you. Even in the tremble. Even in the lack. Even when your prayers came out wrapped in panic. Heaven still knew the address. But now your voice is no longer a visitor to your future. Now your voice is the builder. The creator. The sound of your destiny remembering its own name. You don't have to scream to be powerful. You don't have to chant louder or speak longer. Or repeat what you don't yet believe. You only have to shift the tone. Not louder. Deeper. Not more aggressive. More certain. Because wealth doesn't respond to volume. It responds to vibration. Say this softly now. I now speak as the future I already walk in. Feel your breath meet your words. Let them marry in your chest. Let them echo into the bones that once carried the burden of begging. Let them replace the girl who had to ask 3 times just to be seen. You are not her anymore. You are not the one who begs the universe. You are not the one who performs to earn provision. You are not the one who calls it faith but feels like fraud. You are the one who declares, and receives, and multiplies, because your voice no longer tells the story of what you fear. It now tells the story of what has already been written. Say it again, this time from your belly. I now speak as the future I already walk in. Your tone doesn't just predict your future. Programs it. Teaches your reality how to behave. Tells money what you believe you're worth. Tells relationships what kind of love you'll allow. Tells God whether you trust what was promised, or whether you still doubt it can be delivered. So listen, love. Check your tone. When you speak about your desires, do you sound like someone trying to be chosen? Or do you sound like someone remembering what's already hers? When you speak about your needs, do you sound like someone abandoned? Or someone who knows that supply is spiritual, and that heaven already decided? Because here's the holy truth. The universe responds to the identity behind your voice. Not just your words, but the place they're coming from. You cannot speak from scarcity and call it manifestation. You cannot plead for abundance and expect overflow. You must become the decree. So breathe and listen to yourself. Is your tone trembling or sovereign? Is your voice built from memory or from truth? Because there is a version of you, a sacred, sovereign, powerful you, who speaks like she's already there. She doesn't raise her voice. She raises her frequency. She doesn't over-explain. She embodies. She doesn't ask 5 times. She speaks once, and watches the heavens rearrange themselves. She doesn't hope her words work. She knows they already did. Gives you. You just forgot. So now you return to your original tone. The one you used before you were ever told to shrink. Before the world taught you to trade softness for silence. Before fear put a leash on your language. You speak from knowing. You speak from divine memory. You speak from the center of your I am. Say this again, with breath, with reverence, with certainty. I now speak as the future I already walk in. If you feel this shift in your throat, type, my voice carries wealth. Let it be a digital decree. Let it be a signature of your return. Because your voice was never meant to match your circumstances. It was meant to command them, to rewire them, to redirect them. You don't have to wait for your life to change to speak differently. You speak differently, and your life remembers who it was always meant to be. Because the real currency isn't money. It's your frequency. It's the tone behind the word. It's the energy behind the affirmation. It's the soul behind the sound. Say this softly now. Like a lullaby to your old self. I no longer whisper for what I was born to declare. And again, with your spine straight and your heart open. I now speak as the future I already walk in. This is how it changes. This is how wealth begins to gather around you. This is how the tone of your voice becomes the architecture of your future. And now, you are no longer surviving. You are speaking as the one who builds what she once waited for. Before money ever touches your hand, must feel safe in your body. Before divine overflow ever fills your life, it must first feel welcome in your nervous system. And I need you to hear this slowly, with breath, with reverence, with all the softness your heart has not yet been allowed to hold. You were never meant to chase what was already yours. You were never designed to hustle for heaven. You were never required to prove your worth through exhaustion. Stillness was never laziness. It was always prophecy. They taught you that movement meant progress, that burnout meant effort, that rest meant weakness. And so you ran. You ran from silence. You ran from the slowness that heals. You ran from stillness. Because stillness made you feel unworthy. But the truth is, God was never asking you to perform. God was waiting for you to pause. The nervous system of a billionaire is not addicted to adrenaline. It is rooted in peace. Calm is her currency. Breath is her altar. Presence is her open door. And now it is yours too. Breathe. Right here. Right now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let the tightness in your chest begin to melt, as if the weight of centuries is being released with a single exhale. This is what wealth feels like. This is divine supply remembered. Not through striving, but through safety. Say this softly, like a promise to the child in you. My stillness is proof I am ready for divine overflow. You don't have to do more to receive. You have to be more still to remember. Because abundance does not arrive through pressure. It arrives through peace. Let your breath teach your mind what your soul has always known. You don't have to earn what's already written in your name. You are not the one who performs. You are the one who permits. You are not the one who begs. You are the one who receives. And receiving begins in the body, not in the bank account, not in the business metrics, not in the constant reaching and doing and building and showing. Receiving begins with one sacred signal. I am safe now. Let your breath become that signal. Let your stillness become the new standard by which money is magnetized to you. Because divine wealth doesn't just listen to your words. It listens to your nervous system. If your breath says, I don't trust this, the universe will pause. If your body says, I'm not ready, abundance will wait at the door. But if your stillness says, I am already full, overflow will pour without hesitation. Say this now, from the center of your ribcage, with the certainty of a soul that remembers. I now receive in peace. Let this be more than a sentence. Let it be your new spiritual setting. You no longer have to chase. You no longer have to scream your affirmations through a tired jaw. You no longer have to outrun the guilt that says rest is irresponsible. Your rest is responsible. Your peace is prophetic. Your breath is your billionaire frequency. Can you feel it? The tension that once protected you is slowly dissolving. The armor you wore made of stress, of strategy, of spiritual hustle, it's falling off like old skin. You don't need it anymore. You are not surviving this season. You are becoming it. You don't need to carry proof. You are the proof. This is the body divine supply was waiting to remember. This is the vessel that knows stillness is not idleness. It is sacred instruction. This is the life where you don't need to do more, to have more. You only need to be more still, to become more receptive. Say it again. Let it land. Let it take root. My stillness is proof I am ready for divine overflow. Because the old you needed to feel in control. The old you needed to explain everything. The old you needed to do in order to feel worthy. But the new you receives. 'Cause she remembers. She trusts. 'Cause she knows who she is. She pauses. Because she is no longer surviving. And if your body is done surviving, type this in the comments right now. As a decree, as a ceremony, as a sacred signal. I now receive in peace. Say it until your breath believes it. Say it until your jaw softens. Say it until your shoulders surrender. Say it until your nervous system remembers that overflow is not dangerous. It is divine. You were never created to fear rest. You were created to rule through stillness, to command through calm, to build from being. Because supply is spiritual. And the most spiritual act you can take today is to breathe. Let the world spin. Let the inbox fill. Let the hustle run past you. You are not missing your moment. You are becoming the moment. You are not late. You are landing. You are not behind. You are in breath. And in this breath, God is multiplying what your hands haven't even touched yet. This is the wealth of stillness. This is the overflow of surrender. This is the body of a woman who will never beg again. And this is your new beginning. Breathe and receive. Money listens, not to noise, but to naming. It listens to how you speak when you think no one is listening. It listens when you check your balance. It listens when you hand over the card. It listens when you whisper lack. And when you declare wealth. You have been speaking into money, whether you knew it or not. Every sigh you breathed when a bill came in. Every clench in your gut when the register blinked. Every, I can't afford that. Every, it's too expensive. Every apology you made for wanting more. Every time you said, Money is hard. Money never stays. Money only comes when I push myself past breaking. Money heard you. It's not judgmental. It's not cruel. Just responsive. Money is an echo, mirror, listener, and most importantly, a servant to your spoken reality. Say this out loud. My money hears me bless it, and returns multiplied. Can you feel the difference in your body when you say it like that? What if every dollar you've ever touched was waiting for one thing? To be spoken to with love. Money is spiritual, not just in theory, but in vibration. It listens to whether you release it in fear or in faith. It listens to whether you give it away, as if it will never return, or as if it's going to circle the globe and come back wearing gold. When you spend, what do you say? When you give, what do you believe? When you tithe, do you secretly wonder if it will leave you in lack? This is not about budgeting. This is about blessing, because your money is alive with memory, and your words are its seed. You are not just a spender. You are a prophet. You are not just a buyer. You are a creator. And every transaction is a sacred conversation between you and your wealth. So speak like the divine steward you were born to be. Say this now, not to perform, but to remember. My money hears me bless it, and returns multiplied. You see, what you say into money, money becomes. If you speak guilt, it returns lack. If you speak fear, it returns limitation. If you speak hesitation, it mirrors your doubt. But if you speak reverence, if you speak legacy, if you speak increase, money becomes a messenger of overflow. Your words are wombs. And money is the child of your declarations. You were not meant to whisper scarcity into your bank account and expect overflow. You were not meant to curse your wallet with shame and expect divine return. You were not meant to say, I guess that's all I get, and still call yourself abundant. The universe cannot contradict your vibration. Must obey it. So now you shift. Now you remember. Now you become the speaker of wealth. Let your voice train your wallet to listen. Let your breath become a blessing over your purse. Let your affirmations ring louder than your past. Say this in the energy of prophecy. My money hears me bless it, and returns multiplied. Even when you pay a bill, let gratitude speak before fear does. Even when you give, let trust echo louder than hesitation. Even when it feels tight, let generosity become your decree. Because when you speak from overflow, you invite overflow. When you speak from supply, you reveal supply. When you speak as the I am, you command reality. You are no longer surviving. You are scripting. You are no longer reacting. You are remembering. You are no longer silent. You are sovereign. And if you feel this truth, if you are done spending in fear, if you are ready to speak wealth into your wallet like it's listening, type this in the comments right now. My words carry return. Say it again. Until your money believes you. Say it again. Until your cells match the sound. Say it again. Until your life reflects your language. Because money doesn't follow action. Follows vibration. Follows the tone. The frequency. The feeling of the words behind the words. You are not just working with paper. You are working with prophecy. And every time you say, I bless this and it returns to me multiplied, you are not hoping. You are commanding. You are not asking. You are awakening. God heard you. Not because you shouted, but because you spoke like it was already done. So from this moment forward, you do not speak to money like a stranger. You speak to it like a student, friend, a divine assistant. You say, you are safe with me. You are powerful through me. You are multiplied because of me. Money does not create your worth, but your worth commands your money. And your words are the evidence of what you believe about both. This is your new spoken reality. This is the sound of wealth returning home. This is the vibration of sacred currency. This is the prophecy that echoes back in form. So speak, bless, remember, multiply. Because your money is not resisting you. It is simply reflecting you. And you are no longer surviving. You are now the decree. Ask ChatGPT. There is a language the universe does not speak. And that language is doubt. It doesn't understand hesitation. It doesn't recognize maybe. It cannot respond to uncertainty wrapped in prayer. It waits for certainty. It waits for decree. It waits for the voice that knows. You don't get what you hope for. You don't get what you earn. You don't even get what you pray for. If you whisper it in fear, you get what you speak, like it's already yours. You get what your nervous system accepts as identity, not fantasy. You get what you dare to name, not what you quietly tolerate. Say this slowly from the bones of your becoming. I no longer wish. I declare and receive. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is not demanding. This is divine memory. You were never meant to beg for what God already wrote in your name. You were never meant to shrink in the presence of possibility and call it humility. You were never meant to whisper through a cracked voice, I hope it happens, and call that faith. Well, you were meant to speak like the one who knows. The one who feels the yes in her bloodstream, before the evidence ever arrives. Because spoken reality is not about convincing God. It's about remembering who you are. This is an identity shift. From survivor to speaker. From pleader to prophet. From hoping to declaring. Say this with all the softness and power in you. Heaven already said yes. Let that become your walk. Let that become your breath. Let that become the tone of your transactions. The rhythm of your rest. The posture of your prayers. Because when heaven says yes, you no longer look for signs. You become the sign. When heaven says yes, you don't rehearse rejection. You embody readiness. When heaven says yes, you stop auditioning for what's already yours. You simply say, I declare it. I receive it. I walk in it. Can you feel the difference? Can you feel your cells leaning forward? Can you feel your old self backing away? No longer needed for the next chapter. This is the pivot you've been waiting for. The sacred turning point. The divine yes that was never held back. Only waiting for you to match it. You see, the universe is not sentimental. It's vibrational. It does not respond to tears. It responds to truth. And truth sounds like a decree. Not a wish. Not a wait. Not a someday. But now. So you must ask yourself, have I been wishing when I should have been declaring? Have I been rehearsing the pain instead of prophesying the promise? Have I been speaking through fear or speaking through frequency? You were not meant to tiptoe around abundance. You were born to command it, not through effort, but through embodiment. And that embodiment begins with the voice. Say it again, not for the algorithm, not for the world. For the part of you that still isn't sure. I no longer wish. I declare and receive. And if you feel this truth in your body, if you're ready to speak like it's already done, type this into the comments right now. Heaven already said yes. This is not a line. It is a line in the sand. It is where your old language dies. And your new life begins. From this moment forward, you are no longer available for begging energy. You are no longer available for subconscious apology. You are no longer speaking from the wound. You are speaking from the throne. You are no longer saying, I hope I'm chosen. You're saying, I was already anointed. You are no longer wondering, will it work? You are saying, it's already working for me. You are no longer pleading, please let me in. You are walking and saying, I built this with my decree. Because the universe does not create your truth, confirms it, and it cannot confirm a voice that still hides behind maybe. You don't need to scream. You just need to sound like you belong. You don't need proof. You just need presence. You don't need a strategy. You just need a spoken I am. This is the sound of divine certainty. This is the sound of alignment. This is the sound of the version of you who no longer negotiates with fear. Say it until your bank account echoes it. Say it until your body aligns with it. Say it until lack forgets your name. I declare and receive. No more hesitation. No more hoping in hiding. No more performing for permission. You are not a beggar. You are not a mistake. You are not a maybe. You are chosen. You are named. You are confirmed. You don't have to chase miracles. You are the miracle. You don't have to prove yourself. You are the proof. You don't have to ask if it's for you. It was always for you. Heaven already said yes. Now speak like it. You said. You were never created to shrink so others feel safe. You were never assigned the role of permission giver, gatekeeper, or comfort maker. You were born as light. Not as explanation. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to dim. To soften your brilliance so it didn't pierce too bright. To decorate your truth with apology. To package your dreams in smallness. To ask for permission to exist. As if God didn't already say yes. But wealth doesn't need permission. Divinity doesn't beg for understanding. Abundance does not over-explain its presence in the room. Simply enters. And the room rearranges itself. You're not too much. They were simply never ready for someone who no longer hides behind maybe. You were never meant to narrate your bigness to make it digestible. You were meant to embody it, with sacred silence and radiant certainty. You were never meant to shrink your vision into someone else's comfort zone. You were born to carry divine contradiction, soft and powerful, humble and wildly prosperous, invisible and unforgettable. So let me ask you gently, when did you first learn that being more required more explanation? When did you begin performing humbleness instead of embodying wholeness? When did you begin translating your wealth into smaller syllables? Just to stay loved. Say this and let it land in your body like truth finally remembered. I exist without apology, and wealth responds. Let this be the moment you revoke the need to justify your blessings. Let this be the breath where you no longer explain what God already approved. Let this be the permission slip you never needed. You have nothing to prove, only something to remember. There is a holy frequency that lives inside you, and it doesn't need captions. It doesn't need context. It doesn't need approval ratings from people who never saw your soul. It only needs embodiment, because wealth responds to energy, not explanation. It responds to grounded certainty, not over-clarified worthiness. It responds to the one who says, I belong here. I don't need to justify it. The most magnetic energy in the universe is silent confidence. No defense, no disclaimers, no spiritual resumes, just embodied truth. The version of you that tries to explain her magic. She's tired. The version of you that over-apologizes for being blessed. She's healing. The version of you that narrates every move just to avoid being misunderstood. She's ready to rest. And the woman who no longer shrinks to stay safe. She's rising now. Say this slowly, into every part of you that used to doubt her own enoughness. I speak without shrinking. And if this truth awakens something deep in your body, type those words below. I speak without shrinking. This is your new standard. This is your new silence. This is your new sovereignty. You are done negotiating your presence in sacred rooms. You are done bargaining with your brilliance. You are done trying to explain the divine. You are the permission you've been waiting for. You are the evidence. You are the prophecy walking. So don't explain it, live it. Don't justify it, breathe it. Don't narrate it, become it. They don't need a paragraph. They just need to feel your peace. They don't need your receipts. They just need to witness your rest. They don't need your bio. They just need your being. Let wealth meet the version of you that doesn't flinch when she speaks of overflow. Let supply find the you that no longer giggles nervously when she names her desires. Let abundance arrive at the address of your unapologetic frequency. This is not pride. This is permission. This is not ego. This is embodiment. You are not here to shrink. You are here to shine in such sacred steadiness that others remember who they are. Just by being near you. You are here to take up space with softness. To hold light without guilt. to speak without shrinking, to live as if you were always allowed. Because you were. You always were. And now, you no longer owe your bigness an explanation. You owe it your full expression. You said, you were never meant to chase wealth. You were never sent here to perform for provision. You were never designed to hustle your way into heaven's economy. You were born carrying the code. Supply lives inside your breath. Has always been there. It was written into your name, not your resume. It was promised before your first word was ever spoken. You do not achieve divine wealth. You remember it. You do not earn what God already authored. You allow it to return to you. Take a slow breath. This is the sound of spiritual inheritance re-entering your nervous system. This is the breath your ancestors prayed you'd take. The breath of someone no longer surviving. The breath of someone no longer begging. The breath of someone finally home in her enoughness. Say this gently to your body, the body that used to hustle for love, for safety, for significance. I remember that supply lives inside my breath. You were not sent here to be exhausted. You were not created to spend your life proving you are worthy of what your soul already remembers. You are not the builder of the empire. You are the temple it resides in. You are the throne it bows to. You are the breath that activates its flow. You wore hustle like a second skin. You confused struggle with sacredness. You believed God loved the ones who sacrificed the most. But that was never heaven's system. That was trauma's. And now, you are unplugging. You are remembering. The divine doesn't compete. It doesn't perform. It doesn't strive. Simply remembers itself. That's what you're doing now. Remembering the parts of you that capitalism made you forget. The soft you. The still you. The magnetic you. The one who knows that money isn't something you make. Something you align with. And alignment isn't effort. It's essence. It's identity. It's breath. You are no longer achieving. You are awakening. You are no longer striving. You are receiving. You are no longer waiting. You are becoming what was always encoded in you. Wealth doesn't respond to panic. It doesn't answer to pressure. It bows to presence. It flows to remembrance. Say it again, slower this time. Let your voice echo across every part of you that used to beg for bread. I remember that supply lives inside my breath. And if this awakens something in your bones, if this feels like a secret you've always known, then type these words below. Abundance is remembrance. Let this be your new frequency. You're not chasing. You're calling back. You're not pushing. You are aligning. You are not hoping. You are declaring. There is no final destination. There is only now. And now is where divine wealth lives. Now is where provision meets presence. Now is where you remember. You were always the source. Yes, you, the one who fasted and feared. The one who tithed and still trembled. The one who gave even when she had nothing left. You are the miracle. You are the overflow. You are the answered prayer. And you were never forgotten. So stop asking like you are. Stop shrinking like you're unworthy. Stop auditioning for a role you were born to lead. You are not here to fit in. You are here to realign. You are here to be the embodiment of supply. You are here to carry heaven's frequency in human form. Every time you inhale, you are proving. You don't need to run to be worthy. You don't need to explain to be enough. You don't need to grind to be supported. You are supported because you exist. You are provided for because you breathe. You are remembered because you are remembrance itself. Say this aloud, like your spirit is reintroducing herself to your body. I remember that supply lives inside my breath. And now, feel how differently the world responds. When you walk in as the one who doesn't chase, but the one who commands by simply being. You are the shift. You are the arrival. You are not manifesting wealth. You are remembering that you already are it. Ask ChatGPT. You were not born just to receive. You were born to multiply. You are not the grateful survivor anymore. You are the sovereign steward. You are the multiplier of everything that reaches your hands. This is what heaven remembers about you. Not your desperation. Not your waiting. Not your scarcity. But your divine assignment to increase. You were not given gifts to cling to them. You were given gifts to pour them. To plant them. To multiply them into gardens the world could eat from. You are not small. You never were. You are not the container. You are the current. Say this out loud. I am the multiplier of everything that reaches my hands. Not just a receiver. Not just a collector. Not just the grateful one in lack. You are a creator. You are the echo of divine abundance. You are the breath through which heaven grows itself in the earth. And yes, your hands were made for this. Your hands were made for overflow. Your hands remember what your mind forgot. That you are not the end of the blessing. You are the beginning of its multiplication. Let this truth rise in you slowly, like a sunrise made of memory. You don't hold blessings. You expand them. You don't fear losing. You trust your ability to multiply. You don't grasp. You generate. Because your source was never money. It was never people. It was never a job, a system, a man, or an algorithm. Your source was always spirit. And spirit does not add. Spirit multiplies. Spirit does not give sparingly. Pours. And it pours through you. Let this enter you. You are no longer the one who hopes for a crumb. You are the one who bakes the bread. You are no longer waiting for a miracle. You are the one through whom the miracle moves. Say it again slowly. I am the multiplier of everything that reaches my hands. The money that enters your account. It expands when you touch it. The peace that enters your home. It multiplies when you breathe into it. The opportunity that finds you. Grows roots and wings when you say yes. You are not here to just be helped. You are here to become the help. You are not just rescued. You are the rescuer. You are the pattern breaker. The lineage lifter. The one your bloodline has been waiting for. No more apologizing for your ability to multiply. No more shrinking so others feel safe staying stagnant. No more pretending you're just blessed to receive. You are blessed to build. To expand. To replicate heaven's generosity in human form. If your soul remembers this truth. If your belly burns with it. Type this now below. Multiplication begins with me. 'Cause it does. Every time you say yes to a higher frequency, you multiply the field. Every time you give from a place of overflow, you rewrite what wealth means for everyone watching you. Every time you speak, you shift the shape of reality, not just for yourself, but for the rooms you walk into, for the hearts you love, for the worlds you'll never even meet. Your energy is contagious. Your expansion is a sermon. Your presence is a prophecy. You no longer need to be grateful just to survive. You now declare, I exist to expand. I exist to increase. I exist to overflow. This is not greed. This is godliness. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. It was never just about what you could get. It was always about what you could become. And what you become multiplies. Every breath, every decision, every word you speak over your life carries creative power. You don't repeat the old anymore. You multiply the new. You don't recycle fear. You amplify faith. You don't hoard provision. You steward divine supply. Say this once more, like a prayer, like a promise. I am the multiplier of everything that reaches my hands. Now walk like it. Speak like it. Give like it. Receive like it. Because you are no longer surviving. You are no longer asking. You are no longer waiting to be picked. You were chosen the moment you were born. You were chosen to increase what's good. You were chosen to build what's holy. You were chosen to remember who you are. There is something you haven't said. A truth you've swallowed. A sentence you buried. A whisper that turned into a wound. And it has cost you more than you know. Because every time you silence yourself, your wealth hears you go quiet. And it mirrors you. Your abundance waits at the edge of your honesty. Your overflow is not blocked by effort. It is blocked by everything you refuse to voice. You were not created to bite your tongue. You were not born to apologize for what your soul is asking to say. You were not made to survive in silence. when your truth was the very sound that would unlock your provision. Say this softly. I now speak the truth that sets my wealth free. Because truth is not just power, it is permission. Your truth is the decree the universe has been waiting to hear from you. Not rehearsed, not polished, not spiritualized, just real, just raw, just yours. How many times have you withheld it? To keep the peace, to not rock the boat, to make others comfortable with your shrinking. How many moments have you stayed quiet? Not because you had nothing to say, but because you were afraid your truth would change everything. And what if it's supposed to? What if the dam you've been living behind was built by all the words you choked down to survive? What if the flood you've been praying for can only come when you say what survival told you to silence? There is divine wealth trapped in your unsaid truth. There is overflow waiting on your courage. There is freedom waiting for your sound. Let this settle in your bones. You do not need to be loud. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be honest. Say this out loud. My voice is my supply. Say it again. Let your cells hear it. Let the lie of silence unravel beneath it. Let the little girl in you know it is safe to speak now. It is safe to be known. It is safe to no longer hide. Because this is not about yelling. This is about reclaiming your vibration. This is about choosing not to negotiate with your own knowing. This is about understanding that when you mute yourself to protect others, you also mute your connection to divine direction. There is a frequency only your voice carries. There is an unlocking power only your truth holds. And when you dare to release it, even in a whisper, something in the spiritual realm starts to move. Something ancient begins to rise. Something sacred begins to return. Something you thought was lost begins to remember you. And the wealth responds. Here's your clarity. Here's your resonance. It hears you speak without shrinking. And it flows again. If this truth is waking something inside you, if your silence has grown too heavy to carry, type this now in the comments. My voice is my supply. 'Cause it is. Every affirmation you've ever whispered has been a prophecy of return. Every time you opened your mouth in trembling obedience and spoke a new reality, the atmosphere bent to receive it. You're not asking anymore. You're not proving anymore. You're not waiting for someone to give you permission. You are declaring. You are remembering that heaven already said yes. And your voice is how you say yes back. You don't need another strategy. You need to open your mouth. You don't need another affirmation to memorize. You need to finally say what your spirit has been aching to release. Say it now. I now speak the truth that sets my wealth free. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Because you are the gatekeeper of your own overflow. You are the oracle of your own abundance. You are the prophecy your voice has been waiting to fulfill. So speak. Speak what you were scared to say. Speak what the world told you was too much. Speak the truth that trembles inside your belly. Speak it like you're saving yourself because you are. And every time you do, your supply expands. Your wealth no longer lives in the words of others. It lives in the boldness of your own decree. This is where the silence ends. This is where the river returns. This is where you become the sound your future has been begging to hear. You were never forgotten. You were just waiting to be heard by your own self. And now, you are.